Okay, I think we're recording. I think we're good to go.
Awesome.
So welcome everyone. My name is Christian Perry. I am the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion here at Franklin and Marshall. And welcome to our podcast. We're kind of still in the midst of figuring out a name. So hopefully by the time we post this, we'll have our name together. And hopefully we'll have some memorabilia soon as well. But we just want to welcome you to the podcast, and we hope that throughout this, you get a chance to hear from people from around the F&M community about things that are important to them. We think this is a great opportunity for people to be able to come share their story. We learn a lot, laugh a lot, hopefully, as well, and then hopefully give something to the audience that you can take away from this as well. So we are in the midst of Latinx Heritage Month, and with this being our first episode of the podcast, I thought that this was a perfect opportunity for us to be able to continue to celebrate Latinx Heritage Month. So I have two students with me today. I have John Paul Rojas from Miami, and I also have Kim Rosario here, and she is from Philadelphia. So the goal for this is to just be a conversation, a laid back conversation, where we get a chance just to learn a little bit more about you, your culture, and things that you're interested in as well. So I mean, I guess to start us off, can you just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, I guess?
So I'm John Paul Rojas. You can call me JP. I'm a senior here at F&M. I study anthropology as my major and Latin American and Latinx studies as my minor. And I'm involved in some things on campus like the Lands Acknowledgement Committee. I've been involved in a few archaeological projects as part of my major in Ecuador and Bolivia, and I kind of have that background and kind of studying a lot of different things, I guess, in terms of Latin and Hispanic descent and heritage in general. And my pronouns are he, him, his, etc.
Well, I'm Kim. I go by she, her, and I'm a junior at F&M. I'm a double major in Spanish and psychology, but I'm actually in the process of switching that a bit because I do want to get involved with studio arts. And I don't know, I'm from Philly. I'm rapping right now. One of my people.
Shout out to the plug, I love it.
Shout out to Too Much Money, Zay. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Miami, 305 till I die.
That's awesome. Okay, I love it. So I mean, you both mentioned a little bit about like your time here at F&M, right? And,
yeah.
That is great, and I'm glad that you're here and you're able to explore some of those interests. But what's your life outside of F&M? Like who are you outside of being like an F&M student? What are some things you do?
I would say outside of F&M, I'm both simultaneously like a very energetic person and an old man. And I say that because I'm the type of person that enjoys just like having a calm night where I get to cook some family recipes or try new recipes, bake maybe, work in the garden or go for a walk out in nature, a bike ride. But then I'm also the type of person that loves listening to like energetic urban music, going out and hanging out with friends, traveling a lot. And I guess I kind of just have those two sides to me that I just like doing a lot of different things and I'm open to like all types of experiences usually.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really close friends with JP, so I'd say about the same. Like, I'm always open to new experiences, always trying to try something new and go outside and just enjoy nature or whatever it is. Like, I was literally just saying, like, it's kind of peaceful hearing the cars pass by. It's so random. But, yeah, I'd say, like, there's a chill side to me. Also kind of anxious. I'm, like, all over the place, but it really just depends on how the day is, what's going on in my head.
Right.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I'm kind of all over the place as well.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand. So one of the things you mentioned was just kind of like one of the things that you like to do is cook some family dishes and family recipes. What are like some of your favorite family recipes?
Well, some of my favorite family recipes, I mean, I love gallo pintos from Nicaragua. It's like rice and beans, typical, but I can kind of use it for everything. It's easy to make. Pollo sudado from Colombia as well as my dad's side, and that's also just it's like warm like food to have whenever I come home from a trip or whenever we have like, I guess, just sitting all together as a family. And I like trying different things from like both my backgrounds, Nicaraguan and Colombian, like arepas or tortillas and things like that. You know, it's great to like have that, I guess, mix of culture and food, and it's very comforting for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have any favorite like family dishes?
Yeah, so usually when I cook, it's like rice and beans junto, so like yellow rice and beans together. And then chicken wings, cause chicken wings are one of my favorite foods.
Yes.
And then some torta fritas, like Uruguay style.
Wow, that sounds
good.
delicious. Oh, I love empanadas. Speaking of which, I love tequeños Venezuela, but those are so good. I love the sweets and baked goods a lot as well. Yeah, from Nicaragua, there's picos, which are like these like triangular, like sugar-coated treats that have like cheese on the inside, sometimes pineapple or other items.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's just really good stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, everything with coffee. I love coffee.
Okay.
You know, I love coffee.
Yeah, every morning, cafecito.
We love cafecito. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Real quick question though, because you mentioned that you love chicken wings. I also like to think of myself as a chicken wing connoisseur. Drums or flats?
Flats.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think there's more meat to them.
Drums or flats? You're with flats too?
Yeah.
Yes. I think I'm gonna start keeping a toll for. I'm gonna ask everyone that comes in here.
Drums are overrated.
It is.
Thank you.
They're overrated. It's like, okay, just a little steak you eat. 2 bites, you're done. Flats is like a whole experience. It's like,
It's nice to be working with it. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna struggle, but it's gonna be good.
Yeah. You earn that meat, I think. I think drums are too easy.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Sorry to all the vegan people out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're in Latinx Heritage Month. So, and I guess not to necessarily kind of change gears, but kind of changing gears, right? But we're in Latinx Heritage Month. And would one of you want to just kind of tell some people who may not necessarily know exactly what Latinx Heritage Month is? Just kind of give them a background on it?
Yeah, so basically, Latinx Heritage Month begins on September 15th. That's the day of independence for 5 Central American countries, Nicaragua, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and Costa Rica. They used to all be one nation, and they separated into different countries on that day. The 16th, we observe Mexican Independence Day, and on the 18th, Chilean Independence Day, as well as on the 12th of October, we also have Indigenous Peoples Day, which is also a good celebration to acknowledge as well, considering the large amount of indigenous history in Latin America as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I believe in the U.S., in 1988, I believe is when it became an official like month-long holiday, and that's also cool to know, I guess, like the history in the U.S. of it.
That's awesome. So, right, I think to myself about like just like Black History Month, and understanding, right, that like wow, it's amazing that we're able to kind of celebrate and be celebrated during that month, right? I'm a living Black man every single day of the year, right? It's similar for you, right? So thinking about that in terms of just like Latinx Heritage Month, what are some things that you do just to kind of keep that celebration alive, right? Whether it's just kind of in you and how you carry yourself, or just things that you do around campus, or just in your day-to-day life. Like, what are some things that you do to continue to be able to just kind of celebrate, right? Celebrate yourself, celebrate your heritage, celebrate your culture. What are some things that you like to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I try to embody myself every day. So like just listening to Spanish music, even in like areas where I'm not supposed to, or even speaking Spanish, like I will break that barrier and just be my Latin self. Like I can't help it. It's my identity. It's part of who I am, and there's no reason I should try to like sugarcoat that.
Exactly. I love that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's always like a matter of accepting and like embracing the complexity of my backgrounds, and in everyday life, whether it's like in class or whether it's at home with friends, with acquaintances, whatever it may be. And like, yeah, I do my things like listening to different Latin genres, or maybe just the food that I eat, the food that I cook. Just my presence and being able to like speak Spanish or Spanglish is also kind of like a form of like, hey, we're here and we exist and we're part of our background. There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to be ashamed of, or try to fit our identity to better fit someone else's perception of us or anything like that. Just, everyday stuff, and carry yourself well and be proud of yourself.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So kind of staying on the topic of like Latinx Heritage Month, right? I think one of the things as the director of our center here, one of the things that I'm always, I don't want to say struggling with, but I'm back and forth with, is the term, right? I have other friends who work in higher education, and they've mentioned like there's Latinx, but then also, right, you see, like I had like Amazon Prime, and like they have like a section, and it's like Hispanic Heritage Month, right? So I think, and I'd love to kind of get your insight. What with the different terms, right? We have Hispanic, we have Latinx, Latino, Latin, Latin. Like, I guess from my perspective, or not even my perspective, but what are your thoughts on like the different terms? I've had different conversations with different people who feel certain ways about different terms, but like, what is your preference, or how would you like to see the DEI office here, right? What would you like for us to be able to call it? Is Latinx the most appropriate? Is Hispanic Heritage Month more appropriate?
Right. I think just like to build off of that, like it's important to see like the different meanings of each word. I know everyone has different opinions as to what they prefer to be called, but in general, the term Hispanic refers to people from Spanish-speaking nations, which include parts of Latin America and Spain, and other parts of the world as well that have that Hispanic identity. Latin, Latinx, Latino, Latina, it refers to Latin America in general, specifically like the Portuguese-speaking, the Spanish-speaking indigenous populations, even some that include Haiti or other French parts of the Caribbean, and it kind of just encompasses that more like Latin American origin and not necessarily a language thing. It also has a lot to do with, I guess, like people's personal gender identities. Latino tends to refer to males, or to like in the language as well, they refer to all genders. Latinx is a preference largely seen in like the LGBT communities for non-binary identifying folks, and Latina tends to refer to female identifying folks. Terms like Chicano, Chicana are also popular among Mexican Americans, especially in parts of the U.S. like California, the Southwest, etc. And yeah, those are just a few of the terms. Personally, I refer to myself as Hispanic, Latino, and my preference overall is always to refer to my background, which is Colombian Nicaraguan, because I think that's where I feel the strongest connection, and that's my own heritage. And I also feel comfortable with Hispanic and Latin because it refers to a more greater celebration, but there is also a lot of diversity within that.
Yeah, absolutely. Any thoughts?
I mean, overall it is very complicated. So I don't even know how I would identify myself. I'm still in the process of figuring that out, which is okay, like I'm embracing that. But yeah, it can be very complicated. I tend to lean towards Latinx or Latina. Usually I use Latinx, but I know there's like a lot of controversy with like the X isn't pronounced in Spanish. So
Right.
Yeah, perhaps Latina would be better. I think the main thing is just like trying to find a consensus that we all agree on, which is of course very complicated because there's so many people in the world with different opinions.
Yeah. I think you bring up a good point though, like some of the like beautiness, that's something that can always be discussed, and people have the ability to choose their own identity and like use labels or maybe not labels that may fit for them and describe that as part of their, I guess, lived experience. And I think it's important for everyone to respect that regardless of what their own background is in that terms of like, terminology, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think one of the things you said that kind of caught my attention was that you were still finding your identity, and that's okay, right? I think that's amazing, right? I think sometimes, especially with college students, and I'm granted I could be completely wrong with this, right? But I think that sometimes there's the notion of like wanting to know exactly who you are right away, and like life is just a process. Like you're always continuing to grow and continuing, so your identity and who you are is always going to continue to change. So like I just thought that was really awesome that like that was your mindset, because I think about that all the time. Like how I am now can be will be completely different than the person I am next year, right? So I just thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
And I feel like identity is very complex though as well.
Yeah.
Like it's not just your one thing. Usually.
Yeah.
Like there's so many other things. So
There's so many different layers to a person that makes the person who they are, right? And that like shameless plug, but that leads to like for our campus inclusion week, right? The theme for the inclusion week is the intersectionality of our identities, right? And hopefully throughout the course of that week, we'll get a chance to just kind of embrace that, right? And letting everyone know that, I'm not just a black man, I am more than that, right? And being able to interact and meet someone and have conversations with them is ways that you're able to kind of peel back some of those layers, which helps people want to be able to reveal certain parts of their identities that you may not have known just off of the sheer like brief introduction or walk by that you see somebody in.
Right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I know we didn't get a chance to talk about it a lot, but you know, you're from Miami.
Yeah.
And you're from Philly, which isn't super far from Lancaster or Franklin and Marshall. But how did you get here, right? How did you find Franklin and Marshall? And then in addition, right, coming to Lancaster, what was that transition like?
Yeah. So I guess I'll start. Yeah, I'm from Miami. Once again, 305 till I die. No, but yeah, I got to learn about Franklin and Marshall College through the Posse Foundation.
Yeah.
I think it was a great opportunity for me to network with people and like meet great people from Miami and from Lancaster and all parts of the world. And through that, I came here, and I guess I kind of like continued to have that experience of interacting with people from Miami, but also entering this new realm that's Lancaster, this new realm that's Franklin and Marshall College. And that experience, I think, was very educational because, like, my whole life, for the most part, I've spent living in Miami, and that's one realm in terms of, like, you know, the city. It's, like, tropical, subtropical, like, you know, the beaches, all that stuff, and different community, different, like, cultural backgrounds of people. And here I found a very different experience, but also a very, like, enriching one in the sense that I got to, like, explore myself and explore others and learn about everyone's backgrounds, both on campus and in the community. And I think it's like, you know, I'm not trying to say that it was necessarily the most easy and always the best process, but definitely a rewarding one, and one that I think taught me a lot about myself and the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, my high school advisor, luckily we had a program that like was built for us preparing us for college, and he recommended F&M. He saw that I would drive there. Well, here. And so I came overnight for a program, I think 2 nights actually, and I stayed with someone who's also in Posse Miami, your class. And I mean, she didn't sugarcoat anything, like, it just seemed like she was living her life. She was a little sick at that time, so I felt a little bad I didn't get like the full experience, but she like told me straight on like what to expect and what her day in life was here, and compared to the other schools that I saw, I was just like, I think this would be fine. I didn't really think much about life in college anyways. I was like, this seems like a decent school compared to the other ones, so I'm just try it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And now you're here, awesome,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
3 years deep,
Yeah.
junior, sitting here on a podcast. You probably never
Yeah.
expected that you'd be here
Yeah.
on a podcast, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, I didn't expect a lot of things, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great thing about being here. Like, I've tried so many new things and things that have affected my life pretty permanently, or at least for now, like, and I'm enjoying it. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I agree, and I'm glad I got to meet you as well. I mean,
Yeah.
we, you know, faced.
Growing up in Miami.
I think I couldn't be more thankful that I grew up in Miami. I'm a big beach person. I love the heat. Some people don't love the heat, and that's all I lived with. Maybe we had like 2 days at most a week of like below 60 or below 70, and that was rare. That was our winter. But yeah, you know, I guess like the weather was fun. I loved like the tropical aspect of it, but also like the community. I think Miami's a very diverse city. There's people from all over the world, especially from Latin America and the Caribbean. A lot of Cuban presence, Haitian presence, Colombians, Venezuelans, Central Americans, all kinds of backgrounds. And I think that was very enriching as well, because it helped me kind of like see my own community and see myself represented, but also other people represented, and gain knowledge and like cultural information from those interactions, and obviously like, you know, form great friendships, great bonds, and stay connected with the world and people back home and in my parents' countries as well. And I think that's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Big fan of Miami, by the way.
Thank
I love Miami.
you. If I can tell you one thing, I think when it gets below 70-degree weather for a week, everyone busts out the winter coats, the boots. They try to go for their best winter look, even though the clothing's not necessary. And yeah, I've done that myself as well. I brought out my sweaters and stuff when it gets below 70.
That's
Yeah.
And what about you? Growing up in Philly.
Philly. Philly. I mean, we don't have nice weather, unfortunately. And I'm a summer baby, so I love really warm weather. But Philly is also very diverse. Luckily, I've grew around with very diverse people in school, so it's cool in school. And I like the culture in Philly. Like, there's definitely something unique about it. Like, even our slang, which some people wouldn't understand.
What do you mean? Understand that, John.
But
I want to thank you both for coming in and being a part of this. This is the first episode, and I think that this is a great way to be able to start our show off. But before you get out of here, I figured that we would kind of continue on the nature of the rapid fire questions. You already answered one of them, which was the drums or the flats. We went to the flats, okay, and I love it. But we'll just kind of go down the line, and first thing that comes to your head.
All right.
Does that work?
Good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ranch or blue cheese?
Blue cheese.
ranch.
Oh yes. I'm not a big blue cheese fan either.
Really?
So you're on your own with that
I'm
one.
the opposite. I don't love ranch, but blue cheese I can put on anything. I guess it's controversial. My bad.
Super controversial. Ranch all the way.
Sorry to the ranch fans. But no.
Bad Bunny or J Balvin?
Bad Bunny.
Bevin.
Okay. Empanadas or tacos?
Bananas.
What kind of tacos?
Okay. What's your favorite color?
Ooh. Turquoise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yellow.
Why be interesting? This is subtle shade. Interesting.
Turquoise. Never heard of that one.
Because I wouldn't say like straight out blue, but I wouldn't say straight out green either. I like the intersection between the two. I like the turquoise, like the almost like, you know, Caribbean water look. It's like kind of green tones, but like bluish,
Yeah.
very light, but also colorful and enjoyable. Yes, like
I appreciate that. That's a good answer for
I
that.
respect that.
Favorite spot on campus?
here's on campus.
Just like a place where like you just want to go and just kind of relax.
Well, mine is Rochelle Performing Arts. People like to steal my spot. But so I might not share it, but I do enjoy the view outside the big mirrors. Yeah.
I have to say Rochelle too. I mean, we both go together a lot there, and I think it's become my favorite spot on campus. A lot of natural light, and it's a good place to chill.
Awesome. Well, once again, thank you for coming on. I hope that you decide to come back. Bring some of your friends, any clubs or organizations. Feel free to let me know. We're hoping to be able to have people from throughout the F&M community and hopefully the Lancaster community at some point too, be able to come on and just talk about things that you're interested in. So once again, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
All right, everyone, have a good one.
Thank you. And you said you forgot the Puerto Ricos that you're playing?
It was not my plan, but I usually rap. And
As
rap
always.
Puerto Rico.
As
I didn't even
always.
have my necklace on today. I'm lacking.
I can't believe you forgot that, John.